The only thing they did, from what I heard, I was in this country on D-Day.
Yep.
When D-Day happened, I was down in Georgia, and they claim that the 101st, they had no identification when they went in, and they got their reputation. The general was mad. They didn't bring enough prisoners back. They didn't do this. They didn't do that. And then they got the reputation of being a rough outfit to the Germans. So then we were allowed to wear identification all around us, because as soon as we hit the ground, they seen the 101st that worked on here. Mm-hmm. That's what they claim anyhow. Mm-hmm. But that's when they first went in at D-Day, which I wasn't there. And they said that happened. They didn't take prisoners like they should have, and they got the reputation right off the bat that these guys don't take prisoners. So when we went back, we were allowed to wear our airborne patches and everything. So that's where we wore the buckle, mm-hmm. No problem.
So then you shipped out. Do you remember what kind of boat it was?
Oh, yeah. George Washington.
Oh.
That's a cruiser. Mm-hmm. That was a civilian boat. It was one of the best boats, like the Queen Mary today.
Like a luxury cruise
liner.
Oh,
that was a great one. That was a beautiful boat.
Where did you stay in the boat? Do you remember?
Well, down there on the bottom. And every time they had a practice, the destroyers would come alongside and they would shoot their guns off, and they'd sound the alarm and we'd come up. Well, we never made it past the fourth floor or whatever was there. If that had gone down, we'd all gone down with it. We were in the bottom. But we did get up once in a while. Boy, that was beautiful. At an ocean, on a moonlight night out there, you know, you could see the ships around you. Boy, that was nice.
So did you have escorts?
Oh, yeah, they destroyers all around the place. Every once in a while, they'd open up on gunfire, you know, like they're training it. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was beautiful out there.
How long did it take you to get?
I don't remember how long it took us to get over there. We landed in Wales.
Okay.
That's Wales, and then we went over to, I guess, England from there.
Okay.
But we did land in Wales. As far as we were concerned, the people told us that's what it was.
Okay, so when you got off the boat in England, what was the day-to-day life like at the time? Like, what did you do? What did they have you do?
Just more or less, we were in regular, I don't know, like big buildings and so forth, just rooms and so forth, biding time to ship out.
Did you do any jumps while you were in England?
Okay. Not over there. No. They, like I say, most of it was routine. We went into town, went into the pub and back and all this kind of stuff. So that's where I learned to drink that bitters over there, a warm beer. Used to have a fireplace there, and they'd warm it, and then you would drink it.
Wow.
Yeah. It was good. I done a lot of drinking.
What did you think of the civilians over there? You interact with them at all?
Yeah, I didn't have any. The only thing that most of them, they really looked out after the average civilian. Like if you were in a bar, they'd make sure the guy gave you the right change because you didn't know what the money was. And they would holler at you all the time. I'd carry my wallet in my back pocket. You shouldn't carry it back there, you know. Well, I always feel my wallet. That's part of me. I can tell if anybody gets near that baby.
Mm-hmm. What type of money did you use? Did you use American money?
No, they changed it over to British. That's why they had to watch us. See, they had the pounds and all that stuff. And the people used to watch and make sure the bartender was giving us the right money.
Mm-hmm. So when you stayed at night, you stayed in buildings or did you have tents?
No, buildings.
Okay. Do you know how long you might have been there?
Yeah. I tell you, I couldn't tell you how long we were there. All I know is when we left there, we left to go to Holland.
Mm-hmm. Okay, tell me, before you guys left for Holland, were you discussing what it might be like when you eventually get to fight the Germans? I mean, what kind of conversation did you have with the other men? Any?
No, just our buddies hung around together, all expecting what we're doing. Mm-hmm. The only ones that we had were a little leery were the guys that were left from D-Day. Oh, we're gung-ho, we just got here, let's go, And when you see what this is all about, he says, you're not going to think much of it, you know, but they're the guys that came back, see. But we're still going home. I mean, what thickets? I know when I landed in Holland, I mean, we kept telling these guys, hey, come on, when are we going to get somewhere, you know? And when we got to Holland, landed that day there, and got everything straightened out. We were in a camp there, and they come around and said, we need volunteers to go down with that bridge. They're attacking the bridge. So the first thing the guy hollered out, where's all you gung-ho guys? You know, that were been. So we run over there and got on that Jeep, man. We're gung-ho until we got down there. Until we got down to that bridge, man. It was all right until the tanks started come throwing the shells in.
So before you went to Holland, were you guys thinking, we're going to jump? Did you have an expectation you were going to jump?
Yeah, you better believe it. Yeah, that's why we were, there was only, I don't think there was 12 of us. That the captain turned around and said that you guys are going in with us glider people. And we went right down to that orderly room, boy. I'll tell you, we were hot. And we stood outside there, military or not. And he come out and he says, I can't help you. We need you on this particular thing, and that's what we're going to do. We come all the way over here to jump. We didn't come over here. We never been in gliders before. And he said, more or less he was sorry, but he was the captain. And boy, we were hot. We were really hot. And that day they walked us down to that glider, you know. Boy, what in the world? We used to make so much fun of them guys. Look, Herman, no motor and all this kind of stuff, you know. Here we are getting in this dumb thing, you know. And never been in one. Never even seen the inside of one. But he might have saved my life. Because if we jumped, who knows? And when we went in with the gliders, we made it. So, and he didn't last, no time at all. He led, I don't know why they teach you not to go out in the open and walk across the field, but he went leading the guys right across the field, and he was the first guy to go down. And he got killed right there. And the bad part about it is we had to all retreat back to the ditches. Everybody had to they had these big ditches in Holland, which saved us there. And they claimed that when they went to get him, he didn't have nothing. His rings were gone, his wallet was gone, his guns were gone, and that couldn't have been the Germans. They weren't there. So, boy, that was a sad day. But you've seen a lot of that. You've seen a lot. After all.
So when you landed, you were saying you were gung-ho. You wanted to see some action.
Oh, yeah, man.
So what was it like the first time you saw action?
Pardon me. Yeah. I dug a foxhole with my bare hands. Man, oh man, it was all right. It's not bad when you're shooting man to man. But when you got shells coming in, you ain't got no protection from that. That's how my buddy in Holland got that morning when he come out of that tent. Him and I slept together in that tent. And he come out that morning, and I said, come on, Dick, let's go, you know. And he stood there, and I said, I can still see him looking out over the horizon. So I said, hey, buddy, I got to go, you know. So I took off, and I don't think it was 15 minutes later, another buddy come up and says, Dick just got it, he said. I thought to myself, how many times afterwards, if you had stuck with me, maybe you wouldn't have got it, you know, but that's the way it's supposed to be. But he knew. He took one look and he just stood there.
So you guys were in tents, I guess, behind the front line?
Yeah, in other words, when you come down in there, an area that was secure, then you had these two-man tents, each had a part of a tent, and then you moved out. Well, at that particular time, we were in one area, and they took us down, and then we moved out. Well, when we moved out, like I say, I don't know, I wasn't up the front, I was towards the rear of it, and Next thing you know, they opened up and caught him right in the crossfire. They laid a trap for him, and they walked right into it. The only thing saved a lot of them was the big hole ditches. They could get back to the ditches and down in there, then you were all right. But yeah, that captain, and I thought to myself afterwards, but he might have saved my life. But he was the guy that didn't want us to jump, and here he gets killed right first shot, But he was a nice guy, but boy, he just made up his mind. We got to have you engineers with us on this particular thing, and that's what we're going to do.
So, what were your duties then? I mean, obviously you had some resistance and some fighting, but what were your duties outside of that? Did you have to rig anything up, explosives or mines?
Not in Holland. We all we did was protect that bridge. We had to keep that bridge from getting shelled out. In other words, that mission, you remember, goes right through into what was it, Arnhem or whatever, and each bridge had to be taken care of. And we took care of that one. But we got a break because that was the first bridge in. Our general, he wanted to take Arnhem, but he always wanted to take whatever. He was a gung-ho guy.
During that mission, there were a lot of British involved as well. Did you deal with any of the British soldiers?
We deal with a lot of British soldiers. They were the ones that had the tanks. They coming up the road, which we opened the road up, kept the bridges going, and they come through. Well, that was, if you think 61's got any traffic going, they're bumper to bumper with tanks, all the way clean through. They could hardly move. They were jam solid. One after another, they had all our markings on, even though the British were running them. They didn't even have time to paint them or do nothing with them. And the only thing right away, they told us, do not write anything about the British, because it will be crossed out. See, the British and the Americans didn't always get along. I like the way they fought. I mean, when they go to fight, they bring up everything, where the Americans go in with a squad. And, of course, we made better ground than they did when it come to that. But it's funny how they come out and they got the blow torches and they make their tea. And they sit there and drink the tea, and I think to myself, boy, the tanks ought to be moving. But they couldn't move, it was probably jammed up. But they just told us not to write anything because it wouldn't go through. But I had some dealings with them. I never had no problem with them. They were nice guys, One thing about them is we were waiting to go into a town one time, and when the British come up, I thought, oh, man, you got it made now, man. When these guys come up, they got half the army coming in with them. Where we used to go out in squads, like 6 men, and find out what's going on out there, not them. So they come in with the tanks.
So